Hello and welcome. I am Matt Roddy, and this is the Greater Prescott podcast, where we talk about, you guessed it, all things Greater Prescott. Today, I want to welcome my guest, Brent DeSaye, Executive Director of the Community Pregnancy Center. Brent, thank you for coming to the studio.
Oh, thank you for having me, Matt. I really appreciate it.
Right off the bat, what is the Community Pregnancy Center?
Well, it's a non-denominational pro-life Christian ministry that reaches out, helps girls who usually find themselves in an unplanned pregnancy. Not all of them, but some just need help with their pregnancy or after. And we've been in Prescott. We first started in 1984. Everything we do is free to those who come through our doors.
Okay.
So we do free pregnancy tests. That's usually why they come in first.
Gotcha.
They think they might be pregnant, and if they're positive, then we set them up for an ultrasound. And the ultrasounds, we have 3 nurses that volunteer their time, and 2 doctors. We have a doctor that reads the scans, and then another one that's our medical director.
Okay.
That's Dr. Rich Covey is our medical director, and then Dr. Michael Lacaze actually reads our scans for us, and they volunteer their time too.
That's great.
And that's our most powerful tool in if they're thinking about having an abortion, and we can show them that this is actually a life, not just a blob.
Right.
It's an actual human being.
Yes.
Nearly 90% of the time, they change their mind and choose life after seeing their baby
It's amazing.
on the ultrasound.
Absolutely amazing. When you took me on a tour, we went into the ultrasound room, and that was exactly what you said. This is the most powerful tool. This is the most powerful room that we have.
Yes, it definitely is, and we're totally blessed to have those doctors and nurses giving of their time to do that for us, and we've been blessed with a 3D, 4D machine to do those ultrasounds, and really, really thankful for that.
That is wonderful. We will dig into more of what the organization does. As I always like to kick off the podcast, actually, I am not going to kick it off like I normally do. I'll share a little bit of context why I'm interested in what this is. I'm a Christian. I was born and raised in a Christian family, but not until I was a senior in high school, till I was off doing drugs and drinking a lot, did I give my life to Christ. And so I am now a Christian, and I believe that Jesus created everyone in his image.
Yes.
Period. End of statement. Whether it is a fresh-born baby or whether it is a baby that was just conceived in the womb. And so this is definitely something that not only is near and dear to my heart, but Emily and I, my wife, we've got 4 kids. I mean, we believe that the work that you guys do is really special. And as you're going to share, I'm sure, some stories, that it's very special, the work that you guys do.
All right. Yes. I feel very thankful to even to be a part of it. It's God's ministry, and just thankful to be there.
Yeah. It's like we prayed before we started. It's like, it's not yours. It's not your volunteers. It's the Lord's ministry that you guys are a part of.
Yep.
Now we'll kick it off like we normally do. Where were you born and raised? What did you do when you were a kid? How did you end up in Prescott?
Well, I was born in Montana. That's where my family, my grandfathers, both of them had homesteaded there, originally in northern Montana.
Okay.
But my parents decided, they came through Prescott in the late 60s and thought, I'd like to move here someday. So
was it family that was here, or did they hear of it? Or
no, just traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling, and came through. And then in 77, we moved here. I was in grade school then, but we moved to Prescott. I grew up here. Graduated Prescott High School, then Arizona State.
Okay.
And then I was really thankful to be able to come back to Prescott and be able to live here and raise my kids and stuff here as well. And just thankful. It's a pretty hard place to be, really, to live.
It is a very hard place to be. It's not as easy of a place to carve out work and actually be able to raise a family and things like that. We have a very unique economy in that respect.
I agree with you, definitely, Matt.
What part of town did you grow up in?
Mostly on the west side of Prescott.
Okay.
That's where I've lived most of my life, growing up, and as well, a couple different homes I've owned and lived in and stuff. They've all been on the west side of town.
In the boulders, any in the pines?
Yep, in the pines. Yeah, for out in Deering Park for a number of years.
Yes.
That's just west of Thumb Butte, so it's real nice. You got national forest all around you.
It is. I'm still amazed. I've been here 3 years that you can go from downtown into the pine trees and boulders and I think it feels like you're in a completely different area. And then 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes, you drive downtown and you go, wait, I'm right in town. But you feel like you're out of town, and I think people just get used to it because that's what they're used to. But
Right.
it's still very refreshing to go, man, just 10 minutes up into the pines.
I agree with you. When you said another world, I mean, that's what it feels like just within a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
And I love all the trails they've put in, and
Yes.
it's great. I love to hike, and it's a pretty hard place to beat for that too.
Yes, absolutely. Did you like climbing rocks when you were little?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How
My
about
kids
you?
love it because my in-laws have a cabin down Copper Basin.
Okay.
So very similar where, it's just boulders and trees, and we can take the kids out there and they just have a ball.
Oh yeah. It's the best toys in the world.
It
right
is the
there.
best toys. Yeah, it's like, they don't need other toys. Just
No.
throw them out in nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you remember from the town growing up that is different?
Wow. There's obviously been a lot of growth.
Okay.
Remember the last stoplight was where Sheldon and Gurley met all the way to Phoenix. It was another stoplight all the way through Prescott. None of that existed. It just, you got on the road, you were it was a 2-lane road too. It wasn't divided or anything.
Okay.
So that was one of the biggest changes. And then just all the different stores that have come in, and the malls and the restaurants. I mean, it's grown tremendously, but I don't know, still a great place to be.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That's fun. And coming from Phoenix, where growth is just, that's what there is.
Right.
It feels so different up here.
Yep.
But you have a little different take on it.
Yep.
How many kids were there in your graduating class at PHS?
There was actually a fair amount. There was nearly just under 400.
Okay.
And but at that time, when I was in high school, there was no high school in Chino.
Gotcha. So they were all coming down.
They were all being bussed in and stuff then from Chino. So that added to it. Bradshaw was a lot smaller then. It was just, just a small school at that time.
Any idea how many are graduating now from PHS?
I don't.
Okay.
I haven't heard, but I know.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's so different in this respect. It was, you went to Prescott High School, or you went to Bradshaw, and that was about it. But there's so many charter schools.
Yes.
And in one area that's huge is homeschool in this area is just is huge, and that's what we've done with our 3 kids is to raise them up doing homeschool. And but there's I don't think the school could handle them if all the homeschoolers came in.
I agree, because we homeschool our kids, and now that we're in that area of people, there are a lot of them. The quantity is really high.
There is, and it's I think it's been a great thing to do that. I've been thankful for it, and so yeah.
Then you went down to ASU.
Yeah, actually,
all the way down.
All the way down. Well, I spent my freshman year at NAU, and then I decided to change. I had a sister who had graduated ASU, an older sister, and then an older brother that was at ASU still. So I ended up changing majors and headed down there.
Okay. What was your major?
Well, I still started in hotel restaurant management.
Yep.
That's how I was at NAU.
That's NAU. I know they've got that.
Yep. And then changed to accounting.
Okay.
So, and
I don't know that that's. I mean, you probably need to know how to do some accounting type stuff, doing the hotel things.
Right.
Or you need to be good with numbers, anyways.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I had 2 older sisters and a brother that all had went to college, and they all got accounting majors too. So I don't know.
Kidding.
And neither of our parents went to college.
Yeah, yeah, most of your generation, or our parents' generation, didn't.
Yeah, so we did that. But it's come in very, very handy over the last 9 years at CPC. Having that accounting background, because I got to handle the financials, the donations, the taxes, the tax return, all of that.
Yeah,
has to be handled and done properly.
Yeah. So this is one reason I love this format, is it's conversational and it's long, and so we can connect the dots. And one of the most fascinating things for me, just being that I think is just connecting the dots, is you kind of maybe not randomly, but you got an accounting degree. Your brothers and sisters got one. I mean, that's a little random that you decided to do that, and just how the Lord uses things like that later in your life. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I started doing some real estate videos a handful of years ago, and I found an interest in it. I had never done it before, but what I also learned is a 5-minute video with someone like you just didn't quite get the information across that I wanted it to.
Right.
And so that's how this happens. And so I just like connecting the dots on how the Lord works.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You know, I wasn't raised in a Christian home.
Okay.
But I came to know the Lord at 27. And that was the biggest decision in my life.
Absolutely.
And just over those years since then, and growing and stuff, and knowing what the Word says, and trying to live by that always. And it's the same in there at CPC at the pregnancy center. We put God first. It's His ministry.
Yep.
We start every morning with prayer and devotions. We need Him. We need His strength and His wisdom and stuff to go about our day, and we want to reflect His love and compassion to all those that come through our doors.
Yes.
So,
what did you do after college for work?
Well, I started. My parents had a sporting goods business here in town, and my brother and I were able to. We'd grown up in that business, and then we actually bought our parents out of the business, and we did that for. Well, him and I were partners for about 15 years.
Wow. Where was the store?
It's on Miller Valley. It's So J&G Sales is the name of the store.
Is it still a store?
Yep.
Where is it?
Right at, do you know where Olson's Grain and the post office are?
Yes.
There's a little road, it goes into Olson's. You just continue straight on back and you'll run into
so it's kind of hiding. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm seeing the sign in my head, but I've never been back there.
Yeah. So
Does your brother own it?
He still has it. Yep.
Okay.
He still does that. So, but I, after 15 years, decided I wanted to do something different.
Yep.
Actually, when I was growing up too, my dad had some farms, still back in Montana. Still had the original homestead and stuff, and I would spend summers working on those farms. It was a wheat farm, so I enjoyed that. But we decided, about 2008, to do some other farming. We went to Virginia for about 3 years.
Oh my goodness!
So that was a big change. We were in the Shenandoah Valley, and
talk about a beautiful area.
It is a very beautiful area. Yes, very green and lush, and but we raised. Chickens and turkeys all out on grass, natural. We'd process them ourselves. We work with a farm there that had done that. I did an internship with them, and then we had the opportunity to go back and continue farming there, and it was wonderful. We'd get to chicks when they were just after they were born and raise them all the way and process them ourselves, and it was just wonderful being outside. And we did that, like I say, for about 3 years, then got to missing home. So we came back to Prescott, and we did it here for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then I was involved. We had, before we ever went to Virginia for those 3 years, my wife and I had wanted to support CPC, and we believed in their mission. And that they're not just. It's not just saving the life of a child, a baby. It's also building a relationship with those parents and sharing the gospel with them, because. If you can share the gospel with them, and they come to know the Lord as their Lord and Savior, and you're saving their life too. So that's our mission.
Yep.
And so I'd got on the board of directors. They're all volunteers on the board. Okay. And then I went away to Virginia, came back, and actually my wife and daughter had started working, volunteering in a baby store. Then I got back on the board of directors, and the board, after about a year and a half being on it, we started looking for a new executive director. And some of the board members approached me about taking the role, and I'm like, I never thought of that, in that role. And but after praying about it, decided to go ahead and give that a try, and that was January 1st, 2013.
Okay.
So, but started in that role, and then that's when I would quit doing the farming. And took on that. It was a full-time job. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
As a side note, I lived in Chicago for about a year, and through the Lord moving in my life, I ended up working at a pheasant farm for a few months. And these were people that raised about 100,000 pheasants a year. And do you know what they did with them?
Nope.
They sold them to country clubs, gun country clubs, shooting country clubs. Right. So everyone knows of a golf country club.
Right.
Well, I learned that there are clubs where people sign up for that they go hunting, and so they need to stock the land. And so this family would raise about 100,000 pheasants every single year, and they had a bunch of acres, and it was just fascinating. But they'd collect all the eggs, and they'd incubate them, and then they'd hatch them, and
wow, nice.
And then they'd raise them old enough to and basically get them to a certain age so that they could then just deliver them.
Right.
It was fascinating.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's a good time.
So just that was a side note. Yeah. So 2013, you started at CPC.
Right.
Go a little farther back. When was CPC started? What's the story?
Well, originally there was a pastor. He was approached by 4 different women, all feeling like led to open a ministry like this to help girls that find themselves in an unplanned or pregnancy and or a crisis situation in that pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And them all coming at about the same time, but independently, and they went from there. That was 1984. And then they gradually started to grow it from there. It has moved, there's been about 5 or 6 different locations around Prescott over the years. And it formally became a 501c3, a nonprofit in 1987.
All right.
And then a lot of years, it took there's a lot of changes over the years, but the location, we're at 1124 East Gurley St now, just as you're coming into town. Mm-hmm. But we've been there, about 11 years.
Nice.
We started out renting it, and then we were able to purchase it in 2017, which was a huge blessing. It's high visibility.
Yes.
It's really close to Yavapai College, which our biggest demographic is college students, college age. But although we get girls, we've had girls all the way down 14 years old,
of course,
up, women into their 40s and stuff. But that's the biggest demographic, 20 to 24.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Right. So we're easy to get to. And like I said, the visibility was huge, that people would see us there. So
on the visibility, how do a majority of people find out about CPC? Is it driving by, or is it Googling?
Well, I'll tell you, that sign for a number of years, the number one way was they would see our sign. We have a big sign out front that says free pregnancy tests.
Okay, simple.
And they come in for that, and that was the number one way. Or a friend might refer them. But in the last few years, with the social media changing, we've done a lot more advertising on Instagram, Facebook, a lot of Google ads.
Yes.
And in the last year and a half, we've seen that go into the number one spot, actually, to find us. Because probably close to, I think, 90% of the clients, when they check, they look us up, they're doing a search for whether it's abortion or not. Mm-hmm. We don't ever refer for abortion. We don't do that. But maybe they're looking for those words. Yes. They find us, and they do that on their phone. So and they
surprise.
Call us. Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that you guys have sunk into that and created that. All right. So what type of we'll start from kind of the beginning again. Give me a good 60-second soundbite that I can put up about what CPC is.
Okay. Like I say, we're a non-denominational, pro-life Christian ministry. We don't ever refer for abortions, but we're there. We give everything we do is free, and we do the pregnancy tests free. The ultrasounds are free. And we also do parenting classes, and that's a huge thing too. Is a lot of times they may come in, the girl says, "I don't have any money. There's no way I can keep this child." Mm-hmm. Well, they find out they can take these classes. We have these online stream classes. There's over 200 different ones. About raising your child, the pregnancy, going through that, relationship, finances. And they do that class, and then they do homework, and they earn credits. And then they take those credits to our baby store. Yep. So we don't people just don't walk in and get free stuff out of our baby store. They have to take the classes.
Earn it.
Right, exactly. We actually call it Earn While You Learn is the actual name. But they get those credits, and they can take them over to the baby store, and we have diapers, wipes, formula, car seats, cribs, strollers, literally everything they need for their baby. Yeah. And they one credit gets you 4 baby outfits. Okay. 1 credit gets you a dozen diapers, like that. So they when they see that and realize, wait, I can get everything I need for my baby, and it doesn't, and I'm learning skills by taking these classes, that changes minds. So, wait, I don't need an abortion. I got help here.
I can do this.
Yeah, and we have our client advocates who meet with each of the clients as they
Okay.
come in and build a relationship. And that's when, usually when that relationship is built, you have an opportunity then to share the gospel and share Christ and what his word says.
Yeah. How many volunteers?
Well, and that's how we're really volunteer driven. There's only 5 of us on staff. 2 of us are full-time, 3 part-time, and then we have about 40 volunteers.
Wow.
So,
Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
yeah, it's, I mean, if it wasn't for them, I mean, it
wouldn't look the same.
No, we wouldn't be able to meet all the needs. We had
Yeah.
nearly 1,700 client appointments last year. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, if we go through,
That is amazing.
it is, and and like I say, we need that help.
Yeah.
So, and that's a huge thing.
We'll speak to it. How can people get involved and what's involved? Because I know there's a building that you use for training and things like that.
Right. So on the volunteers, we have 3 areas. Client advocates meet with the clients. They do the pregnancy tests, and they help them go through the Earn While You Learn classes. Also, we need help in the baby store. We have volunteers there. They're helping sorting the donations coming in, helping the clients pick out stuff for their babies, as well as we have some volunteers at the front desk too.
Okay.
And I mean, that's a huge thing. If you're at the front desk, you're the first person they see when they walk through the door. And that's where, like I say, one of our big prayers each day is when we greet them, we do it without judgment.
Amen.
You don't know who's going to walk through that door. That might be your best friend's daughter. All of a sudden, she's 15 and she's coming through the door.
Yep.
And her mother may have no idea what's that she could be pregnant. So we meet her in love, and we greet them, no judgment, and we're there to reflect Christ to them.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
I assume people can give the office a phone call if they're interested in volunteer opportunities.
Absolutely. You can call. The phone number is 928-778-7654.
Okay.
And we'll get you to Ellen. She's our client services director.
Gotcha.
She walks all the new volunteers, potential volunteers,
Yep.
gets the information she needs and stuff. And then we set you up, and we do volunteer trainings periodically through the year. And
Great.
as well as we don't just throw you into the job. We do there's some, you have to go through, besides getting the application, go through our 2-day training. You also shadow another seasoned volunteer.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of knowledge before you're actually
Thrown into the fire.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
So,
So what about the 2 doctors? Talk about who they are and their role.
So back in 2007, the center we became a medical facility.
Okay.
That means that we started to do the ultrasounds, and we had to go through different steps. And Dr. Rich Covey he stepped forward and said, you know what? I'll be that medical director.
Okay.
I'll put my license up for you guys. And he's been the medical director ever since.
Wow.
A huge blessing. And that's how we were able to get approved as a medical facility. And then
what's his practice on not at CPC? What type of physician is he?
he's a family practitioner here in town.
All right.
Yep. And then the other doctor, Dr. Michael Lacaze, he's a DO, and he reads all our scans after our nurses.
Okay.
We're HIPAA, whatever, compliant as far as we have to, how we do those scans, how we transmit them, and everything.
Oh yeah.
They go to him. He double checks them and signs off on them for us. And that's huge. I mean, we couldn't do the ultrasounds without those.
Or you'd have to pay someone, and it just brings in more complications.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is amazing.
So-
Any other volunteers that you'd like to talk about?
Well, and besides the client advocates and the baby store and the front desk, we have some other volunteers that just give their time. Some of them, we have special projects throughout the year. We need to step in, or we have an event going on. We got a big mailer going out. Maybe they can help stamp, fold stuff, whatever needs to be done. We have other volunteers that come in and actually do some yard maintenance and do that as well too. So there's periodic stuff as well available.
Yeah. What type of events do you have?
Well, we do 3 major events. Actually, we're getting ready to do our first one of the year. It's our Walk for Life.
All right.
We usually always do it on Mother's Day weekend, the Saturday of. So it'll be May 8th this year. Last year and this year we did it a little different. Usually we'd gather all together and walk in a big group and go through the center and do a tour, but we're doing what we call a virtual walk.
Okay.
So we're still planning for Saturday the 8th, but instead of walking in a big group, you can choose the time you want to walk. You can the course or whatever you'd like
Yeah.
to walk. Usually we do downtown and then out to the center and back.
Okay.
But you can choose whatever route you want to walk. If you go on our website, which is cpcprescott.org, you can register online and help raise money. So you're walking, you go to your friends, family, whoever, and say, hey, I'm going to be walking. Would you sponsor me? And they can donate to you. And actually, there's prizes you can earn.
Nice.
Quite a variety. You can get, first is a T-shirt. Raise $100. You get one of our T-shirts.
Great.
Boom. You wear that the day of the walk. We'll have those available ahead of time. And you can, there's movie tickets, there's gift cards, there's our grand prize is you get 4-day passes to Gripstone climbing gym, and plus a couple of pizzas from Bill's Pizza, and then some ice cream from Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
So certificate. So
wonderful.
so all the information is there in the details. You can call the center. Again, that's 928-778-7654.
I'll put up all the info for people to get in touch.
Sounds good. So that's our first. And then July 30th, we're having our 3rd annual golf tournament. Okay. It'll be out at Antelope Hills. Mm-hmm. And that information isn't quite up yet, but it will be after the walk. But again, that'll be July 30th. That's a Friday. Come out and golf and help raise some money. Then our last event of the year is our banquet. That's our biggest event. Okay. We'll be up at the Prescott Resort. We have a keynote speaker. She'll be coming in to just share her story. That's October 26th. It's a Tuesday night. Okay. But then as the year goes on, that'll be later here, probably in August. We'll have the information up, and you can register for the banquet as well, too.
So just look at the website periodically, and all that stuff will come up.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're busy. Yeah. What do you do?
Well, as the executive director, my job is half of it, I say, administrative, and the other half is donor development, raising funds for the ministry.
Yes.
We're totally privately funded. We receive no government money.
Amazing.
Very, very thankful for that. We've had been very blessed. There's a lot of people, mostly it's individuals. There's local businesses, local civic organizations, and churches that all support the ministry. Okay. And they're a huge help to what we're able to do what we do. Yes. So that's my main job, and then I meet with the board of directors once a month, and thankful for the board. They're a wonderful group of people. They volunteer their time there too, but we have to have a board to approve financials. Absolutely. And
how many people on the board?
There's 8 on the board. Okay. They're just like I say, they're wonderful to work with. So I report to them monthly, and so. Yeah.
All right. What is the process for you looking for donors? Are you out and about a lot trying to meet people? Are you talking to different churches? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a variety of ways. I mean, one way is churches will invite us in from time to time to just share about the ministry, and so people find out about us that way, as well as we distribute throughout Prescott, Chino Valley, Prescott Valley, down to Dewey, Humboldt, our literature. There's we have about 60 churches that take our information throughout the year and put it out for their congregations. Yep. And so a lot of people find out that way. I talk to people, maybe invited to some civic organization, different ones over the years, and I be able to share about the ministry, or somebody who already supports us may share with a friend, and I'll discuss them, or discuss the ministry with them. The other big thing is that we're open for tours too. Okay. So if you want to come take a tour, just give us a call and come on by, and we'll give you a tour of the facility. We love for people to see it firsthand.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad that you had me come over for a tour. Yeah. It's helpful to connect the dots. Right. And you get a real good sense of what you guys really do, because I got to go in it. I got to go in one of the rooms where they do ultrasounds. Right. And you see the rooms where the clients come and get to watch classes, and and the baby store. The baby store was amazing. It's fully stocked. Yep. And then you had the room next door, which is where people bring the baby goods into, so they have to get sorted. And that room was completely full. And,
very blessed. And so that's that, and our events too. Like this walk. We have people that have walked for several years in a row, but they invite their friends, or they ask them to support. Support it. All those different ways is how we spread the word about CPC and what our needs are and stuff. So
a lot of different fronts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the best way.
It is.
Yeah. Anything else about CPC before we transition?
I think we've been covering it pretty well.
Yeah.
So, like I say, again, just thankful to be there and be able to minister to all those in need that coming through. And it isn't mostly who we see are the girls. Mm-hmm. Usually they're single girls, but there's fathers too. And you see some of those fathers, maybe a boyfriend, might even be a husband,
right.
But they need help, and we're there to help them. And we help from the moment they come in, they think they're pregnant. So from that time that we have a positive pregnancy test, all the way up to age 6 is a group that we work with.
Wow.
We're not just while they're pregnant.
Wow.
So we have a lot of them, and we minister to those fathers too, and there's classes for them and stuff too to be a good father. So
we need that.
Yes.
Us fathers need the help too.
Yes, that's right.
That's really neat. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
All right. What keeps you in Greater Prescott?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I love it here. I grew up, and I thought when I graduated high school, I'm like, I can't wait to leave.
That's what every high schooler says, no matter where they are.
Right. And then after I was graduating ASU, and I'm like, Prescott's a really nice place. and I came back, and I have just the community here. Love the community. Great relationships, friends. Just solid that way. The weather is wonderful. Yes. The outdoor activities that are available, love that too. Love being outdoors. So all those, and those, the relationships are huge.
I agree.
Yep. So.
Yeah, it's a place where you can develop relationships everywhere. There's just something about the size and how friendly it is, and how often you just see people in a grocery store. It just lends itself more than just a bigger town, to building relationships. And there's just something about the area that is very homey.
It is.
It's funny because all my guests say the same thing. It's all the cliche stuff. It's a friendly town, but it's true.
It really is, and growing up here and living most all my life here, I just have to agree. They use the slogan "Everybody's hometown," and that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
So very thankful.
When I was I was born and raised in Tucson, and man, I couldn't wait to get away. After high school, and now I look back and go, actually, I like Tucson. It's much different than I thought. From what I was growing up.
Right.
So it's good to get perspective in life.
It is. It helps.
All right. I have some fun questions for you.
Okay.
You answer with the first thing that comes to mind. And if you have more than one answer, just give more than one answer.
Okay.
It's just that simple. First question. What's your favorite thing about Greater Prescott?
I'll go back. Greater Prescott, I love the outdoors, and I love the seasons. There's no extreme cold or heat, and it's easy to get outside and just enjoy the beauty and great weather.
What's your favorite restaurant in Greater Prescott?
Oh, that's tough. Okay.
You can say more than one.
Let's see. There's a new one in town that I think the county seat, and been there a couple times. Really like it. And then the Gurley St Grill's been around a long time. Like it. It's good to eat at too. There's one I miss. It was called Papa's out on White Spar, and that was a great Italian restaurant. But it's not there anymore, unfortunately. But those are some of the ones I really enjoy.
What's the number one thing on your Greater Prescott bucket list?
Oh, wow. Let me think about that. Number one thing still to do?
Mine is to go in a helicopter ride around the area because I want to see the topography.
Yep.
Because it's just so hilly, it's kind of hard to get a sense of that, and I would just love to see it from the sky.
That would be great. I like that too. I like that bird's eye view.
Well, you can come.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's a good answer. What's your? I always ask the question, what's your favorite all-time something? But I don't really know where to go with that for you. So I'll just go to the next one.
Okay.
What are 3 words to describe living in Greater Prescott?
Beautiful, sunny, friendly.
If you weren't the executive director at the Community Pregnancy Center, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be farming again.
Okay. You really enjoyed that?
I enjoyed farming very much, I love being outside and you're raising food for people and providing. when we did farm, we sold it direct to them. We did it at farmers markets and
Gotcha.
to some restaurants and stuff. And I love supplying food. I mean, that's pretty personal to a person.
It is very personal.
Yeah.
Last question. What's your favorite summer activity in Greater Prescott?
Oh, I have to go back to the hiking.
Yeah. So what's your favorite trail?
Well, I really like Ranch Trail 62 up off of, up past Goldwater Lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the Prescott Circle Trail, and you leave from there and you go out about 4 miles and back, and the views are just, you're up high and you're incredible. You can see all of Prescott, Granite Mountain, Thumb Butte, all the way up, Bill Williams Mountain, all of it.
Yes.
You can see. That's probably my favorite trail.
Yes. Oh, the views from all around are amazing.
They are.
I love it.
So,
another question. What is one question you have for me?
let's see. One question for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what brought you to Prescott?
All the same things. The weather,
Yep.
the small community, the outdoors, a great place to raise children, and all those things. It's a safe place. Just all of those things that most people say.
Yes.
That's why
Yep.
we came. I was born and raised in Tucson, like I shared, so all of my family is there. So it's only 4 hours away. And then
Right.
Emily's family is in Chandler. So that's 2 hours away. So we feel like we're a worlds away.
Right.
But we're only a couple hours from those people who we really love. So
Right.
it's easy for us to visit them. We're going to go down there for Easter. It's easy for them to come up. And frankly, Emily's family has a cabin out Copper Basin, so they frequent up here. And it's just a wonderful place. I think Emily and I are still pinching ourselves that a place like this exists.
Right. Right. That's great.
It's hard. I think if people don't experience it, they would listen to what I just said and think I'm crazy.
Right.
But once you get to experience it, you go, yeah. It's real.
It is. I agree.
To wrap it up, look at the camera and give everyone just the last little bit on CPC, how they can get involved, where they can find it.
Okay.
I'll also put up all the information in the description.
All right. Well, if you'd like to be involved with CPC and the pro-life ministry, the Christian ministry there, you can go to cpcprescott.org or call 928-778-7654. So,
Perfect. Thank you for the work that you and your volunteers do. It's just an amazing thing that the Lord has allowed for, and it's great when there's amazing stewards behind it too, just like you and your staff.
Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's close it out with a nice big smile.
All right.
You guys, thank you very much for joining us today, and have a great day.
All right.